My friends, there are things about us that we take for granted because they are too close, too ordinary, too common. We overlook them because we carry them every single day. One such thing is our hair. To most, hair is simply decoration, an element of beauty, or an external expression of style. But if you look deeper, you will realize that your hair is not merely a physical feature. It is an antenna, an extension of your nervous system, receiving, transmitting, and amplifying subtle energies that your eyes cannot see and your ears cannot hear. Think of hair as living fibers of the soul, stretching beyond the boundaries of flesh. Just as roots of a tree absorb nourishment from the earth, your hair absorbs impressions from the atmosphere, from other people, and from the unseen. It is a spiritual receiver, constantly tuning you into the frequencies of life itself. Every strand grows from your head like a wire from the brain, connecting the inner world with the outer cosmos. This is why, across civilizations, hair has always carried profound meaning. Warriors let it grow as a source of strength, sages allowed it to flow as a channel of wisdom, and many traditions considered cutting it a severing of one's intuitive connection. Have you not noticed how sensitive you become when someone touches your hair? It is not just physical, it stirs something inward. Your soul recognizes it as an intimate channel, a thread that connects your inner silence to the universal voice. Your soul does not speak in words, it communicates through symbols, sensations, and impulses. Those subtle nudges you feel before a decision, the sudden calmness that overcomes you in a storm, or the quiet warning that tells you to stay away from a path. Hair, in its invisible way, sharpens this communication. It amplifies your receptivity to the unseen currents of intuition, to the whispers of the spirit world, to the guidance that comes not from thought, but from being. This is why when people undergo great changes, whether spiritual awakening, grief, or transformation, they often change their hair. It is not vanity. It is ritual. It is symbolic of shifting frequencies, of retuning the self to a new channel of life. To honor your hair is to honor the delicate receiver your soul uses to listen. Care for it, not only as a cosmetic feature, but as a sacred instrument. Let it remind you daily that you are more than flesh. You are an antenna of spirit, resonating with higher truths. So the next time you touch your hair, do not see it as ordinary. Feel it as the strands of your soul reaching outward, gathering whispers from the universe, carrying signals that guide your inner life. For in those silent threads lies one of the ways your soul communicates with you. Hair is one of the most overlooked parts of the human body, yet it carries a profound role far beyond aesthetics. It is not only a matter of beauty or culture, it is deeply connected to the subtle layers of human consciousness. When seen through a deeper lens, hair is not just dead keratin growing out of the scalp, it is an extension of the nervous system, a living and energetic antenna designed to receive, transmit, and amplify vibrations that exist beyond ordinary perception. The human brain does not end at the skull, and the nervous system does not simply stop at the skin. Hair continues this system outward, like delicate sensory fibers, tuning the body and soul into invisible currents of energy. If you observe carefully, you will notice that the tips of your hair are like tiny antennae, receptive to environmental energies. Just as an antenna gathers signals from the air and channels them into sound or images, hair gathers frequencies, impressions, and vibrations from the surrounding atmosphere. Some traditions describe hair as the outer nerves of the body, extending awareness into the space around you. This explains why some people instinctively sense danger, opportunities, or emotional undercurrents without any logical explanation. Their sensitivity is heightened because their spiritual receivers are open and functioning. Across the natural world, this principle is reflected in animals. Many creatures depend on hair-like structures, whiskers, fur, or antennae, for heightened awareness. A cat's whiskers detect subtle shifts in air, guiding it through the dark. Insects use fine hair-like extensions to sense vibrations, enabling survival. Human beings, though more complex in awareness, also carry this natural design. Hair is not only ornamental, it is a built-in sensory instrument that extends perception into realms the rational mind cannot fully grasp. There is also a direct relationship between hair and intuition. People who live in tune with their natural state often speak of stronger instincts, sharper dreams, and deeper awareness when their hair is long and unaltered. Ancient cultures believed that hair served as a bridge between the individual and the cosmic mind, increasing receptivity to inspiration, vision, and spiritual guidance. Warriors in ancient tribes, monks in meditative traditions, and mystics across continents understood that hair was not something to be carelessly dismissed, but something to be honored as a sacred gift from nature. Modern science may describe hair as non-living once it emerges from the scalp, but energy does not require life in the biological sense to flow through matter. Like a crystal, like metal, like water, hair can conduct and store subtle energies. It acts as a conductor of spiritual frequencies, a pathway that connects your inner state with the larger field of life energy surrounding you. When someone touches your hair, you often feel a reaction far deeper than skin level, because it is not only physical, it stirs the nervous system through this energetic extension, reminding you that hair is inseparably linked to your sensory and spiritual being. Throughout history, hair has carried a profound symbolic weight, transcending cultures, religions, and civilizations. It has never been regarded as a mere feature of physical appearance alone, but as something woven with meaning, identity, and spiritual significance. In many traditions, hair is seen as a source of strength, wisdom, and connection to forces greater than the individual. The way people treat, preserve, or even sacrifice their hair reflects deep-rooted beliefs about life, transformation, and the sacred. Consider the warriors of ancient cultures who allowed their hair to grow long as a symbol of vitality and courage. For them, uncut hair was not simply style, it was a reservoir of energy, a visible sign of inner power. When conquered or humiliated, enemies would often cut off a warrior's hair as a symbolic act of stripping away his strength. This practice reveals how deeply hair was tied to identity and the perception of authority. It was not about vanity, but about the recognition that hair represents something intangible yet undeniably powerful. In spiritual traditions, hair has often been linked to wisdom and enlightenment. The flowing beards of sages, the long locks of prophets, and the carefully maintained hair of priests carried messages of devotion and sacredness. In some cultures, uncut hair was an act of spiritual vow, a sign that the individual belonged not to the world, but to higher truths. Monks, mystics, and ascetics treated their hair as part of their spiritual discipline, either growing it naturally or shaving it entirely to symbolize purity, detachment, or surrender. The act of altering hair was never merely cosmetic, but a ritual gesture reflecting transformation of the soul. Across civilizations, hair has also been regarded as a channel to the divine. In many indigenous traditions, hair was believed to connect the physical body with the spirit world. It was seen as an energetic cord, linking human beings to the earth and the cosmos. Ceremonies often included the braiding, anointing, or burning of hair, each act carrying symbolic weight, such as binding together intentions, releasing burdens, or offering part of oneself to the sacred. The way hair was treated in these contexts reveals that it was never viewed as inert matter, but as a living symbol of connection and continuity between the visible and invisible worlds. Even in modern times, remnants of these ancient understandings remain. Haircuts mark life transitions, children's first cut, rituals of mourning, or the symbolic shaving of the head during moments of renewal. Fashion trends may disguise themselves as superficial, yet they often reflect deeper currents of identity and belonging. Whether it is rebellion, devotion, or transformation, hair continues to be used as a language of expression beyond words. The universality of hair symbolism shows that across time and space, humanity has always known There is something sacred woven into those strands. To touch, cut, grow, or adorn hair has always meant more than altering appearance. It has meant shifting energy, identity, and connection with forces greater than the self. Hair carries with it the story of change, and its transformations often mirror the inner states of the soul. When people undergo profound emotional or spiritual shifts, they instinctively alter their hair, cutting it, letting it grow, or changing its form, as if the strands themselves are woven into the language of transformation. These changes are not random. They symbolize the adjustments of inner frequency, the retuning of one's being to align with a new chapter of life. Hair becomes a visible marker of the invisible journey within, a reflection of how the soul communicates its passage through trials, awakenings, and rebirths. In times of grief, many traditions involve the act of cutting or shaving hair. This is more than an external ritual. It is a way of shedding the past, symbolically releasing attachments and making space for renewal. The removal of hair represents a cleansing, a sacrifice that acknowledges the soul's movement from one state of being to another. It is a ritual of letting go, an outward expression of an inward transition. At the same time, in other cultures, growing one's hair after loss or hardship symbolizes the gathering of strength, as though each strand represents resilience forming in the silence of pain. Moments of awakening also leave their mark on hair. When individuals discover a deeper truth, experience spiritual insight, or step into a new awareness, their relationship with their hair often shifts. Some choose to let it grow freely, symbolizing liberation and openness to universal flow. Others radically change its form, signaling to the world that they are no longer who they once were. Hair becomes a banner of the inner shift, an emblem of the new frequency the soul has embraced. This is why drastic hair changes often accompany pivotal life events. A person leaving behind a toxic relationship may cut their hair as a way of severing ties not only with the past, but with the lingering energies of that chapter. A person stepping into a new role or embracing a new identity may adopt a new style, not out of vanity, but as an unconscious recognition that the inner transformation seeks expression through the outer form. Hair in this sense becomes the canvas upon which the soul paints its transitions. In rites of passage, hair often plays a central role. From the first haircut of a child to the ceremonial shaving of monks, each act is charged with meaning. It marks movement from innocence to maturity, from ordinary life to devotion, from one cycle of existence into another. The changes in hair serve as outward confirmations of inward thresholds crossed, a recognition that transformation has occurred and the individual has stepped into a new vibration of self. Every strand of hair carries memory, holding impressions of the journey traveled. Altering it becomes an act of rewriting one's story, reorienting the soul to face what lies ahead. Whether through growth, cutting, or styling, the shifts in hair mirror the shifts in spirit, revealing that the soul constantly seeks to express its evolution through this sacred receiver.